Is this? Can I try the other chair?
What do you mean?
Can I my other side?
What, you want to switch?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess so.
Is that bad for you?
It's not bad. I just always envisioned me being on the left side and you being on the right, but I guess I could be on the right and you be on the left.
That's okay.
Let's try it.
It's just my hair.
Let's try it. Your hair. Okay. Well, if it's going to be based on the hair, then I'll...
Is this a better angle for me or no? You just be honest. You tell me.
I like the other way better. I did actually like the other way better. Your hair looks great. Okay. So welcome to the 98% podcast, where we hear real stories from real people. So we'll start off. I have a list of questions, but we don't have to go by all the questions, okay? Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. So first question. So how do you know me?
How do I know you? Well, you are my eldest son. I gave birth to you.
Okay. That's fair.
Yes.
Anything else? That's it?
Isn't that how I know you?
I mean, you can say more if you want to.
You're my son. I don't know how else to. Well,
Okay.
you're my son.
Okay. Well, what's your favorite? What's one of your favorite stories
Oh my
between
gosh.
you and I?
Oh, you didn't tell me you were going to say that.
I know. I didn't. I
Oh.
figured that'd be a good way to start.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm nervous and on the spot. Biggest stories.
Yeah.
Oh, when we went hunting, that was a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Yeah. When you were 12, I believe, we decided to go hunting. So I took you out of school. It was a good mom Sunday. And yeah, that was fun. So I set you up on the top of the hill.
Okay.
You were confident in yourself and in your skills. And so I thought, well, I'll just stay here at the bottom of the hill and I'll just kind of slowly work my way up there. Maybe run some deer to you. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just not even a good hunter anyways. So, but it was a good time. Then I heard, after a bit, a shot go off. And then, okay, I'm like, oh, he must have got something. And then I got to thinking, wait, I hope he's okay. I hope nothing bad happened to him. And so I started to work my way up there. And in the process, I see this deer just barreling full blast down the hill at me. And I'm like really excited because I'm going to get this shot because she is like right there. So I pull my rifle up, take aim, and try to shoot, and nothing happened. And I got real nervous by that point because she was literally heading at me and about to run me over. And at the last minute, she just turned right at the last minute before she ran me over. My gun had jammed, actually. And so I did what any hunter would do, and I dropped to my knees and cried.
Seems like a logical response.
It's logical. There was a lot of emotion going on right there. And then I checked on you and found out the story. You were just being impatient and thought you had a shot and you didn't.
Yeah, tried to shoot the head of the deer instead of waiting for it to get behind the tree. So I shot the tree. So
that was funny. So yeah.
Okay.
Most of my hunting stories are like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do on this is we like to hear people's stories. That's the whole goal, and you're the first person, obviously, on the podcast. So I like to start. So let's start from the beginning. So what was growing up like for you?
Oh, for me, growing up. So growing up for me was fine at first. I felt like, the way I always described to people would be like Beaver Cleaver family, you know.
You mind explaining that for?
Oh, that's right. Because I forgot. There's so many
I don't even know what that
young people
Okay.
out there
Okay.
now. Okay, most of the older people know exactly what I'm talking about. But okay, it was just, it was a sitcom back in the day. And it was, mom, dad worked, mom stayed at home, was a homemaker. I have a brother. He's a couple of years older than me, almost 3 years. And things were normal. We did our normal routine things, I mean, not a perfect family by any means, until my mom, about when I was 11, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and things changed bad, really dramatically, and we were never the same.
Hmm.
So,
Do you want to elaborate more on that, or
um,
totally up to you?
well, I mean, I've been talking a lot more about it lately than just trying to, work out some of my own stuff.
Yeah.
But things change. Just like I lost my mom, the nice mom that used to read stories to us before bed, and the one that used to take me shopping and all that stuff. It's just like she was no longer there. Now my role changed more to like a caregiver in a way. I had to watch her. I was a little bit more mature than my brother, even though he's almost 3 years older than me. No offense, Robert, if you're listening. I mean, I was more responsible, I guess. I don't know. But that's how I felt anyway. So my dad would take me out of school and let me go shopping with her and stuff to make sure that she spent the money properly, that she didn't, we coined it freak out when she would have her episodes, just so that we had a name to call it. But yeah, we had to keep her busy when my dad was at work, just play games with her and stuff like that, just to try to keep her occupied at first. So, and some of those stories are kind of scary, but for me at my age, I was 11, so
Yeah. Sound like you had to grow up fast.
yeah, I did. Yeah, so no more fun playtime necessarily, and after so many years go by, you start to get hard to it, and you think it's going to change after the first couple of years, so you're kind of, or at least for the first year, you think, maybe she'll come back and she'll be normal again, and it didn't happen. So I got kind of hard to it, and plus I was going into my teenage years, and that was real uncomfortable too. So I used to be real outgoing. Was in, I had lots of friends, before the situation. Real outgoing, always in, programs and in school and all kinds of stuff. And then I just kind of reverted and just, I don't know, I had an attitude, and maybe just things changed.
Yeah. Makes sense, though. I mean, growing up faster than you should. Sounded like you didn't really have the ability to be a kid.
Yeah. No, and everybody was, would always say, "Oh, you're handling this so well," so you get proud of it.
Well, that's what it seems like on the outside, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Never having chance to process it, so you just stuff all those feelings down, and you minimize, you deny. That's typical. And you just harbor those feelings, and then they come out later in anxiety and triggers, you don't even know where they come from. And those are things that I'm really learning all about now, which is kind of cool. So, just learning who I am now and stuff like that.
Yeah, I relate. It's funny thinking, and I think that helps our personality types too. If you think about it, like when people say, "Hey, great job, you're handling this well," that kind of feeds our ego, doesn't
Hmm. Yeah, it
it? So
does.
it feels good,
Yeah.
and then you realize that what you're doing is kind of unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never really having to process. Only lately, just within the last couple of years, have I actually got a chance to grieve her illness, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was so big, so big. There was just, it was like a grief, you know. And when she passed away, I mean, our relationship, she got on some medication, and she did end up getting somewhat better, at least as far as we knew. She only had a few episodes after that, but it took her a long time, though. It took us a long time to get the help to get her the help that she needed. There's not a whole lot out there to help people with mental illness. Now there's more,
Yeah.
but back then it was a hard process. It was hard. Uh, Finally, I think by the time I was think I was 16 by the time my dad was able, we moved from Tacoma down here to Missouri. And I think I was about 16 when my dad finally had to start the procedures. I don't know if he got advice or how, but she was dangerous. She had attempted to kill him a couple times, and this was the second time. And so he had to get her arrested, which was really tough because I was there. And they handled it kind of roughly because I don't think the police understood, that they were just trying to protect my dad. It wasn't in the heat of the moment or anything, but it was really hard for me. And I was very emotional watching her being arrested. And he had to divorce her and just get her awarded to the state so that she could get some help. And she ended up getting a guardian. And then she was on her way. And it took years though. And we had to testify, me and my brother, and also my boyfriend at the time, which is still my husband. I think I was I 17 at that time? I think 16 still, 16. Yeah. We had to testify in court to show that she was not capable of being on her own. And so we had to tell some of these stories of stuff that she would do, and right in front of her, right in front of a bunch of strangers. That was hard. That was really hard. Very emotional.
To be like you're against your mom kind of thing.
Yep, right in front of her face, and that was so hard. We still, after she got the right medication and she was better, we never talked about it. I still was afraid. I think that it would trigger her to freak out again, and so we never talked about it. And so I don't know what she felt. I mean, yeah, that was tough. It was really tough.
It would be really tough. It's crazy too, because I can't imagine going through all that. Like going through it, but it's crazy thinking too, because obviously I knew her, but towards the later stages, and I can't even imagine that being her, which is really interesting.
I know. And I don't think I shared a lot of this stuff with you guys at all when you were little, because I didn't want you to look at her that way. I mean, when you were older, you guys, we talked about it, and stuff, but yeah, I mean, she got well enough that, I mean, I felt comfortable for her to watch you guys, even on her own overnight and stuff like that. I mean, she was fine, but of course we kind of baby stepped it in there. We lived by, your other grannies, and she would come over and check on her all the time. And we would do small segments at first, and she would check on you kids and stuff, because she literally lived like a house or two away, thankfully. So it was good.
Yeah.
So,
it was good. Yeah, she was a sweet old lady.
Yeah,
I think my favorite thing was her jokes.
Oh my goodness.
She always had a joke. I remember every holiday or something we'd come together, and she'd always have some funny joke. Sometimes they're over my head because I was a kid, but yeah, they were hilarious though.
Yeah, she was funny. Yeah, she was a sweet lady, and she was a good mom. She was really a good mom, and she really cared about us. So, and we were somewhat restored. It's just not completely. We didn't completely. Like I said, we didn't talk about the past. We didn't go there. We just kept focusing on the here and now, and that's fine. I mean, but it would have been nice to have a little bit of closure. It would have been really neat to talk to somebody that's going through that and just see what do you feel at that moment? What are you going through? And have a actual deep conversation, with somebody that's going through that situation. Yeah. I know her caseworker, I talked to her after she passed away, and she said she was fascinated with mental illness. She wanted to learn. She was always trying to learn things about how she could better herself as well. So I don't know. We just never talked about it. So I don't know what she knew, what she felt. I know that all I remember, I think, is that they said that she told me I thought she said she was taking a shot a month. So I don't know what that was. And I thought it was a month.
Yeah.
So, and that kept her balanced or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you regret not having having that conversation and that closure, or do you feel like it was fine because, obviously she passed, so were the last moments great because
Yeah.
you didn't need to. So
Yeah.
yeah. So next question. So obviously we talked a little bit about childhood. Now, what do you feel like is your story? So like take us on this journey from, I guess, then to kind of now. And then if you could sum it up into a book title, what would your book be called?
Oh, yeah. See, I tried to think about that. I come up with not much.
That's okay. Just tell us your story and we'll come up with a title.
My story.
Yeah.
What is my story? Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. What is my story? As
Bring us on board. Who are you?
Who are I?
Who are you? What do you do?
Okay. Well, I am a personal trainer right now, so that's what I do currently. I train mostly ladies, but I do some group classes, so there are some men that are in there, but mostly ladies. I work with ladies a lot. And I also volunteer at a women's center where we offer free counseling, free peer counseling. So we're not professionals, but we do take a lot of over 50 hours of study into it. And we have to renew that every 3 years. So that's been a lot of fun, actually. I've been learning a lot about myself in the process of doing that. So it's fantastic. So that's kind of helping me with what we were talking about earlier, just getting to know myself and getting to know, how, when I was a child, how that affected me and how that kind of hinders me a lot from moving forward in my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, real interesting stuff. So here's the door.
Perfect. Maybe it'll be edited out. I can edit out background noise.
That's why I stopped talking.
Okay. So it's funny how that works, how like counseling or helping other people out with certain issues sometimes brings out the things in yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, I've always felt led to women, and it's probably because of my situation in the past. I've always felt led to helping women, and so this was a good opportunity for me. And the reason I was led to that place was because they were offering, free courses on counseling if you were going to work there, and volunteer there. And I always joke around about it, but I remember your sister, my daughter, she mentioned how I was a bad counselor. So, which was kind of funny. But, that's good feedback. I learned from it. And so that's what kind of led me in that direction, which was perfect because it started just taking those courses that they required that we took first. They required a class called Making Peace with Your Past. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. My eyes were just wide open. I really didn't know that I came from a dysfunctional family. Just saying.
Well, you don't know it when you're in it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And because when you go through something like that, you minimize, you deny, you keep things stuffed down because you had no choice in the matter. So you just roll on, right? You just keep going and you just keep living life. And you don't realize how that affects your relationships with other people, how that affects your fear factor in so many things, your identity in so many things. I learned a lot about having a shame-based identity, which I never heard of before, and I never thought that shame. Just the word. I'm like, I'm not ashamed of anything. I don't. I talk about it freely, and I don't consider that anything. And no, that was a big thing. Yeah, I carried that embarrassment, from my mother. And I finally got a chance to open up about it, actually got to talk and feel, you know, uh, people ask me questions like, well, how did you feel about, growing up in a family like that. And it's like, golly, I've never had anybody ask me that before. Nobody ever asked me, I never got a chance to bring closure to it or anything. You just you keep it stuffed down in there and just hope it goes away, and you don't think about it. It's gone, right? Well, it's not. My behavior was framed all around that, basically. So good stuff to learn. Real good stuff to learn.
Yeah, it's funny. I think shame is something a lot of people don't really understand either.
Mm-mm.
Because I was laughing at that when you said it, not at you, laughing because I dealt with the same thing. I remember saying the exact same stuff, like, I don't have any shame at all. Like, not even, like, not at all.
Not me.
And in certain regards, I think that could be true. I embarrass myself sometimes. But yeah, no, I realized, like, that's at the core of a lot of what people do. It's really interesting. So, and you said you learned that in a book, right?
Yeah, in a study that we did, a group study. It was required for all of us before we did our training to make sure that we were ready for what we were, getting into, and to be able to counsel with people. Our motto has always been, well, we've been where you're at. Well, we need to be able to identify, where we've been, what's going on, so we can identify a lot of that stuff. So,
and is this a public book that anybody could get?
Oh yeah, you can get it online.
So just real quick, so what's the name of it again?
Making Peace with Your Past.
Make Peace with Your Past. Okay, and then
it's a workbook.
Okay, and then what is it exactly? If you could sum it up in like 1 minute.
What the way we used it, it's more designed for like a group study, so that you can get feedback from other people. It's really funny how you can't see a lot of stuff that you do or how you behave, but everybody else can.
Yep.
And so it's good to do that in a group setting, to where you can get healthy feedback in a good way.
Yep.
From other people. And so we did those studies, and now I facilitate those studies, and I've done it now probably 5 times. And every time I go through that book, it's not like you can just go through that book and oh wow, I'm just free as can be and just healed, and it doesn't work that way. A lot of this stuff takes years. It's a process. It's a big process, because you can't deal with everything all at once. It's too overwhelming, and you can't see those things.
Oh yeah,
all at once.
That's how a lot of self-reflection is in general. You could take something like 6 months, a year from now, and it'd be kind of different results, which is interesting, because you either know more about yourself now, or the things you thought didn't apply to you, you find out do apply to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, we also need that outside feedback, right? Yeah. So I think we forget that, because I'm a self-assessor like crazy. I'm sure you probably are too.
Yeah.
But there's a limit to that, right? And I've noticed that too over the last couple of years, just embracing all feedback for that reason, because it opens my eyes, right? It really kind of gets to the core of it. And I think the key is, what we need to be better at is being able to also accept feedback. I used to be bad at that. I used to be bad at that too, right? Especially those of us that associate negative feedback with our identity, right? Yeah. And I think that's an issue. And I remember, even not that long ago, just not taking feedback well. And the thing is, if you don't take feedback well, guess what? People aren't going to give you feedback, and then that's detrimental to you.
Oh yeah, when people just go along with you, that's not going to help you at all.
Nope.
And it keeps people from you, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing we need to do is we need to be better about asking for feedback, but also make sure that we know how to take it.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Yeah, especially if you're dealing with that shame. You get embarrassed when you get any kind of criticism whatsoever. You get defensive. You argue. It's and then you deny once again.
It's wild.
Yep. Never thought it.
Okay, cool. So that's what you're working on now.
Yeah.
So you said you do personal training. You're doing the counseling. Let's see. I don't think that sums up your story though, but I think that's some stuff that you're doing now currently, which is good.
I do a lot of stuff.
Anything else that you want to insert as far as story goes, or do you want to move on to a different question and come back to that? Because we can always come back.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I know there was other questions.
Yeah. So one of the questions is, what's the biggest struggle that you've made it through?
Okay. So that would be pretty much currently. I know you probably would think it would be something in my past like that, but it's not. It's something current. Getting back into singing. That has been a big struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a lot of self-reflection and a lot of, wow, a lot of stuff. You, yeah. So I used to sing back when you guys were little, around the 2000s, late 90s. I learned how to sing better to where I could actually sing in front of people because I had an issue singing in front of people, a real big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think I could do it, didn't think I should do it, because I wasn't like so and so who has a great, great, great voice, right? So comparative.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I always fell short. So why would anybody want to listen to me? Right.
Yeah.
And I remember even telling people this, if I'm not any good, I'm not going to make somebody suffer to listen to me. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I have sang all my life in my basement, out on the playgrounds. I mean, I love singing. So, so I did it for a season. And I did it in church. I did solos, you remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then about 2007, my voice started coming and going. And then it just went. And it was gone for a long time. It was just real hoarse. I was scoped so many different times. They just said it looked red and swollen, no nodules or anything. So nothing anybody could help me with. And I would still sing Josh to sleep when he was little, even though I had 3 notes that were hoarse, but I could actually sing 3 notes. And I remember him saying that he said I sounded so good. He was so sweet. That's probably going to embarrass him, but anyways, that's your younger brother for people who don't know.
Yep.
15-year gap?
15 years.
15-year gap. So, yeah, so I decided, I always believed that deep down that I could get it back if I would just rehab it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that easy. Rehab is not easy, especially when nobody's telling you how to do it. That's been my struggle.
Yeah.
Nobody could tell me what my problem was. I stumped a lot of people. It just, I know my larynx was doing something weird. I was evaluated one time a couple of years ago, and she said it was jumping. And I'm like, I'm not making it do that. I could hum, and I could talk. But when it came to singing, it was all over the place. Like one phrase I could do just fine and perfect. And then the second I'd go and repeat that verse, gone.
Huh.
So it was very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
Very frustrating, especially since nobody could help me. So I just felt confirmation to do it in church again a couple years ago. I think it's a couple years ago now. It's been 2 years. I think so. And I warned him. I mean, it was just, it's a small, worship team, just a husband and his wife and me singing. Other people in the band, of course, but it was just us. And I warned him, and I let him know I really want to work on this and I want to try. And I told him, I said, I'll pull the mic away when I know it's coming, if I can feel it coming. As soon as I hear it, I will just, pull it away. And nobody's ever heard of anything like that. I can't even tell you what it sounded like or what it did. It was just like a weird roll, and it was gone, or like it was like something in the back of my throat was actually blocking the air from coming out. It was really strange. And so I asked him one day, because I would always sing behind him, and I said, "Do you know what? I mean, have you heard me?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard you." Because he could hear me when nobody else could, because I pulled the mic away, and it was rough. But I've been working on it, and it's getting better. But it's, man, I've had, those have been the biggest struggles, because I used to sing solos, and I'm still willing to try, and I guess you could say I have embarrassed myself in front of church. Trying to do a solo and an epic fail. I've never done that before publicly. I always had it all together
Yeah.
before I would go, this is something I couldn't control.
Yeah.
That was a hard day. That was a really hard day. Because I was really wrestling with stuff when I got home. You know, I just didn't understand what was happening. I wanted to quit so many times, but deep down inside, I knew I couldn't quit.
Yeah.
And the more, since I'm out there, I'm seeking more help, right?
Yep.
Rather than, I mean, this started in 2007, and I'm just now starting to sing again. How many years, you know, of thinking that I'm going to work on it. But when you're on the hot spot, then you're going to start working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I've been doing, is really working hard at it. I get a little tense, and I know that's what it is. I'm tensing it up when I do a solo. And then I can't get the air quite through as well as I want it to. So I'm still working on that, but that has been one of the biggest struggles, I think, right now, because of the frustration.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also scary for, two reasons, right? One is, the thought of it could come on at any time.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't feel very good.
No.
And then the fact that it's totally out of your control, that probably also doesn't feel very good.
Yeah. And so you don't know, it almost, I compare it to somebody losing a limb, when it's something that you do and it's something that you use constantly, and then all of a sudden you can't do it. And I don't know. It was so strange, but I think it has so much to do with, those nerves. Obviously, there's had to be a nerve issue with my larynx jumping like that. I've had to retrain it. I've had to literally retrain all these things. And I got connected with the right people online, through their Patreon. And Eric Arsenault, if I'm saying his last name right, unless I butcher it, sorry. He's fantastic, and I do his Patreon, and I'm learning a lot. So, and he's also reinforcing the fact that if you think that you're going to learn something in 1 week and you're going to be great at it, he's like, you're mistaken. These are things that you have to practice. The more practice you do, the better you're going to get, the faster it's going to happen. And there's just a process of so many things that you have to learn. Once you get done with this step, let's focus on this one thing. Let's focus on this. And then when you got that down, okay, let's work on this.
Yep.
And so it is a process, and it will always be a process. We all, as I'm aging, my voice is going to be a little bit different than somebody that's just fresh, and it's, hormones are going to make a difference, and just there's a whole lot of different factors that maybe, and I can't compare myself to where I used to be. I have to make sure I'm not necessarily. I don't want to do that. I want to be the best that I can do now. Yeah. I want to just move forward, keep moving forward.
Yeah, compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about getting better each day.
Yeah. And I was real stiff when I used to perform. I had to do it exactly like they taught me. I wasn't free at all because, I didn't know how to improv. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff because it had to be perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is good. I mean, it's all good for me. I'm learning way more harmonies because I have to fit into a different range.
Yep.
So, and now I know how to warm up the higher range versus the lower range, and I know how to be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So, somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm still working out my little bubbles here and there with the tension. That's a big thing. How do you relax when you're nervous? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So you do the best you can, and you don't take it personal. It's not your identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you had some good points there too. Like when we think about it, I think especially in today's world, we want everything fast.
Yeah.
Right. You were saying like, oh, I want to just work on this a week. We get a little impatient because we kind of get everything quick these days, right? But to your point, I think consistency cannot be overlooked.
Right.
In just about everything. It just takes time and just work over time, right? And things kind of, you kind of improve on those things. So, yeah. So one thing I do want to hit on real quick.
Sure.
Okay. So I can tell this means a lot to you
Yes.
because what I would have thought you would have said for this was, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but you had cancer.
Oh. Oh yeah.
so,
Oh yeah.
so I thought that would have been your biggest struggle, but the fact that singing has taken like precedence over that just shows that that means quite a bit. But I don't know if you want to talk
Yeah.
about that or not, but that's kind of
No,
a
that's
big
fine.
deal.
That's fine. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to talk about
Yeah.
it, because I mean, I would have assumed that would have been your biggest struggle, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, just the word cancer is always scary, but a lot of times I don't know, there's so many different feelings that you can feel when somebody's diagnosed with that.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2020. Just a small little lump. It was about the size of a BB. I got my routine mammograms, and nothing ever showed up. And I just was doing a self exam one night during bed. I never do it. I don't usually ever do it. And I just kept digging in one spot, which was kind of weird that I would do that until I found it. It was so strange. And then I just felt something inside of me say, you better get that checked. And I thought, no. Because usually if you feel that feeling, you know, you usually, what it's going to do, you know what it's going to be. So caught it early, stage 1A, so it did not go into the lymphs or anything like that. But there's a lot of denial with that too. I mean, I don't know, you go in it, I don't know, kind of foggy, really. Uh, I mean, I just went into it foggy. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what it meant to have breast cancer. I didn't know what the implications were. Um, so I was numb, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. They give you so much information, and you have to make all these dramatic decisions
Kind of on the spot too.
on the spot because you're afraid. Okay, so my biggest thing was I don't want it going into my lips.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing was let's get this thing out. Let's get it taken care of. And there was a few bobbles, with that. Just so there was a lot of fear factor involved with that. Is I wanted this out of my body. I didn't want to deal with it. And then yeah, just nobody, the doctors, they give you advice, they give you options, and you don't know what that means. So
Yeah.
you make the best choice that you can, and then you hope that you're not going to regret it,
Yep.
So
There's so much information out there too around
yeah.
what to do if you have cancer, and at the end of the day, it's your life, right? So you have to choose what you want to do.
Yeah, and I remember talking to a girl a couple years prior that I was training in the gym, and she had stage 2 breast cancer, which it did go into her lymphs. And she told me one day while she was working out, she says, this is the most fascinating thing. She said, there's something in my body trying to kill me, but I feel great. And that always stuck with me because you can't tell when you're at the beginning stages. You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no clue. And when the doctors suggested that I do chemo, just as a precaution because it didn't go into my lymphs, but they have so many ways of testing reoccurring factors and all this stuff that's way above my head. I was 2% over what they would consider, advice, to take chemo. I think the order was 25% and under. They wouldn't, of the reoccurring factor, I believe it was something, but it was a reoccurring factor. And I was at 27%. So we had actually decided, no, I wasn't going to do it because that's 2%. It didn't make any sense. But then I had this weird dream prior, and then I don't know. It was so weird the way the doctor explained, because they can't tell if one little cell is in your system. They get the whole thing, but since it's being fed through your bloodstream, they really don't know if there's one cell that could be in there that could, grow back or whatever. And so she kind of said that if it did come back, it would be stage 4 somewhere else in, brain, liver, or wherever, something major.
Yeah, and you don't want to take the risk.
No, you don't. And especially with the dream I had was just a really strange dream. And this was after I was diagnosed. It had to do with a snake attacking me. It was kind of strange, and I didn't associate it, but the way the snake came back is exactly what the doctor described. Kind of, it was higher, it was down further, and it came back with more force. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure.
Yep.
And so I did. I went ahead and did the chemo, and that was a hard day. The day that I lost all my hair. They warned me, but nothing prepares you for that.
Yep.
Nothing prepares you for that. I cried all the way to work. I still worked. I still trained people. Nobody even knew I was going through it because I wore a hat, and I didn't shave off my hair right away. So I had these little tufts that came down. And I had a little ponytail. So nobody could tell what was going on up here. And so nobody could even tell. And until it got to where my ponytail couldn't hold the little rubber band anymore. And I had your dad. I said, okay, babe, it's time. Shave it off. Because it was just like little tufts here and there. And so he did. He shaved it off. And then I walked around the house without covering my head. It was kind of funny. Because I caught him looking over at me one day. And he goes, I'm so sorry. I said, no. I said, don't apologize. If you shaved off all your hair, I would do the same thing. I would be looking at you like, that looks different. So, and it was okay. And my grandson, I remember we went camping one day, and he said, Gamma, you look like a boy. I said, you know what? I do. It was kind of funny. So, yeah.
So did you not want anybody to know you were struggling?
I didn't really feel like I was. Does that make sense? It's still like you're still in denial, and you're still minimizing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I did my share of crying and my share of, getting the emotions out, but I don't know. It's just that survival thing in you. You just keep going, right?
Yeah.
You keep living life. You keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you have to. There's no, I don't know how else I would handle it.
Yeah. I think I was in denial on that whole thing too. Because I remember having a conversation with you, and I always look back at that and think like, I don't know. I wish I would have been there more with you during that time. A lot, because I think about that. Like, if that was, last moments, I wasn't there. So think about that sometimes. So I think I was probably in denial as well, thinking like, oh, you'll make it through, you'll be good.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a way to cope.
Yeah.
Right. But
right. Minimized.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's the way we cope, right?
Exactly.
Not facing anything.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So, and I think that's just how I handled it. But you know what? I mean, every day we do need to, take the people around us and take it serious,
Exactly.
to invest in our relationships with each other as if they're our last. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. So true.
But yeah, singing was the hardest thing for me,
That's
because it hit my
crazy
identity.
To think about.
So
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds weird, doesn't it?
Kind of. I mean, when you said that, that's why I was like, huh. But I think it just shows what is more important, which is kind of weird to think about too, because cancer seems like, well, that's your life on the line. But for some reason, singing, it's like being able to sing, like doing something you really want to do while you're living is very important, right? So,
right. Well, and okay, so it sounds weird, but if you die, you die. I know that sounds weird, right?
But if you're alive, you got to be able to sing.
But if you're on stage and you're embarrassing yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. You have to live through that. Does that make sense?
That sounds
It
sounds so
sounds weird.
backwards.
It sounds backwards, but it's actually, if you think about it,
Yeah.
that is true. You literally have to live through that.
I mean,
You
it's
have to
true.
live
Yeah.
through those mistakes that you make.
Mhm.
You have to fall down and get back up, right? Right?
Yeah.
And brush it off and
No.
try again.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But that's also depends if we really care about what people think, though. Is that what's the root of
So
that, though?
there's a whole lot of stuff involved in there. So
Yeah.
that's why it's a big,
It's a
big
big deal.
factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to live with it. You have
Yeah.
to deal with all those emotions and those parts of your identity that are
Uh-huh.
linked with it. The
Yeah.
perfectionism, um, the embarrassment of it, the the comparison,
Mhm.
to other people,
Yep.
good or bad.
Yeah.
Why do you do it? Why does my mind go there? I don't tell anybody what I think. Thank God. Aren't you glad that our thoughts are still in here?
Mm.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just my mind goes in strange ways, and it's like, gosh, I'm glad nobody can tell. but working all that stuff out, that's important. At least I know what I'm thinking, and I can work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as I can keep it there, just in a thought. But
True.
that doesn't happen. It comes right out the mouth usually, or in our attitude sometimes, and then you have to apologize to everybody. And
Yeah, we know what's going on without you saying anything.
yeah, and
Okay.
and apologizing is very good. Own it. If you mess up, own it.
Yeah.
Own it, and apologize and try to do better. Right?
That's all you
We're
can
all
do.
gonna do. We're all
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
mess
We're
up.
not perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's a skill or talent that you could share with the people here?
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna do it in front of all these people.
No.
No. But I'm gonna tell you about it. So.
Okay.
Because I'm still new at it, and because I still have issues. I already told
Okay.
you that.
Yeah.
About stage fright and all that stuff. But okay, it was around January. I know resolutions. I've never done them, but I did it this year.
Mhm.
I have been trying to play an instrument all these years, all my life. I've been trying to play an instrument. Okay, obviously I'm not trying really hard because I haven't done it, but there's always been blocking. There's
Mhm.
always been something blocking me. And I don't know what it is. I just cannot commit to doing stuff over and over.
Mhm.
And I think it is that frustration,
Mhm.
right? The patience, the frustration of it not happening. You're not good at it,
Yep.
and can you still continue to practice being not good at it, right?
Yeah.
That's hard. That's
Mhm.
hard. And I made up my mind. So I was listening to my pastor one day, and he follows a lot of Andrew Huberman, so
Mhm.
he knows a lot about the neuroplasticity.
Mhm.
And so he was mentioning up there one day that to learn something new, it takes 12 minutes a day. I can do that.
Mhm.
I can do 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And I made up my mind that January I was going to learn how to play the guitar.
Mhm.
And so I did.
Yeah.
And I've been playing ever since. I'm not good. I've got some
Yeah.
I'm not real good yet. I'm working step by step, but I've been doing it. And I started off with the intent of every day, at least
Yeah.
12 minutes. And it always leads into longer. At first it didn't. At first it did. But then you start to repeat those same old things, and without proper instruction, you kind of, you have to find some better instruction. And so I did. I found some better instruction and got me on a path to where I was actually playing songs.
Mhm.
And this guy could teach you how to play in 10 days. He was not kidding. So it was fantastic. So I'm playing music just at home.
Yep.
But now I mean, here it is. What month is this? It's the end of May, and I'm
Mhm.
still playing.
Yep.
I can't do yet some of the chords because my fingers don't go that direction.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So I avoid them at this point, and I'm just trying to work on the stuff I do know, and I'm working on my strumming patterns, trying to keep a rhythm, trying to keep the beat, and working on different strumming patterns and stuff. And trying to sing at the same time as playing a guitar is not that easy.
Nope.
Wow.
Takes time.
That was tough. Yeah. So when I'm really getting intent on playing, I stop singing. So it's one or the other right now, but so it's just a process, but I can't tell you how it feels. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I actually can play something, and I can actually jam with people if I wanted to. We jammed a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It was exciting. It's exciting. So that's something I'm excited about doing, but I will not show you guys. Oh, darn it.
Oh, no, it's still recording.
Oh,
it's just saying
so
20%.
I just pointed at you guys.
It's
we
all
have
good.
low battery, by the way.
Just
saying.
But yeah, so it's funny. It's because music is challenging. Learning something new. So it's funny though, because I don't like not being good at things. Right? Yeah. So what's funny is, but mine was different though, because I remember, from you. But the funny thing is like but I still did it, right? So like I think about music, like started with guitar, started singing, I guess, first, or screaming, playing guitar, playing bass, playing drums, and just learning those things. Because at the end of the day, I just wanted to learn how to write music, right? Which I thought was really important to me to be able to do all that stuff. But singing and playing guitar is something different. It's funny because when I wrote those songs, I wasn't thinking about doing both. But then when you go to perform, you have to think, okay, well, I'm playing this really intricate riff now, and I have to scream or sing over the top of it. So you have to start getting used to like, this is what my mind's doing and this is what my fingers are doing. It's really interesting. Yes. But you'll get there. It takes time.
I'll get it.
But yeah, there's that. And then back to your point about the blocks. Sometimes there are mental blocks and stuff, which is really interesting because I felt like I was pursuing a lot of really good things over the past few years. But one thing I kept having a block on was music, right? Getting back into it. Like, for instance, putting stuff on Spotify and things of that nature, right? And I just kept holding it off, making excuses. And then the funny thing is then I don't know how it happened. I just remember being at a coffee shop, putting stuff on DistroKid. I don't remember the steps I took there. I just remember doing it. And it's just funny, like, to your point, it's really satisfying doing those things, like doing that, re-recording the new stuff that's going to be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, very excited.
Which I just put off for a long time. So it's fun to kind of get into that place. And yeah, it is, to your point, it's really hard to identify how it feels. All I can think is satisfaction. Yeah. Because it's something that you've been putting off for a while and you're actually doing it. So, yep.
So now I can actually, if I want to go that avenue and write music or create something, I can. I mean, that feels fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It does.
Because I have fought with it for so many years. I'm still, trying to work on doing the piano eventually one of these days, because that's what I wanted to do at first. But I don't know. I'm just going to stick with this right now and just work on my vocals, and that way I can carry the guitar anywhere I want to go, which is neat.
Yeah, it's easy. Very portable.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so next question. What are you learning about currently that you want to share, that you want to teach with the audience? Teach the audience. Or it could be something you've learned in the past. Just what's something that you feel like would be some good info for people out there?
Oh, well, right now, I'm mostly learning about self-evaluation still.
Okay.
And sorry, I was just thinking about it. I don't want to tell that story. But anyways, no, just self-evaluation is what I've been dealing with, just discovering, what I'm good at, what I'm gifted in, what I believe everybody has. It's not just gifts, I guess. I call them gifts. It's things that you're drawn to, right? I call them gifts and talents. It's just, the things you're drawn to do. Like, I've always been drawn to sing, and so that's the direction I'm going to go. But learning that stuff about yourself. I still remember a time that you asked me what I enjoyed doing, and this was probably about 10 years ago, if not longer, and I couldn't tell you.
I know. That's my favorite question to ask everybody. It's surprising how many people can't answer and I actually have it coming up here pretty soon. It's like, what are you doing for fun? Yeah. Everybody's like, what does that mean? It's really interesting. Yeah.
Exactly. And I know being a woman, being a mom, sometimes we do kind of lose ourselves a little bit, because we have to put sometimes ourselves on the back burner for the sake of the family. I know it feels that way. I mean, nobody's really asking us to, but yet they are in so many ways. The kids want to do this. They want, your husband wants to do this, and fine, we'll just do it, right?
Yeah.
Just to make peace, right? So we don't, and we get so busy with work sometimes, and then family, and we don't get to, I don't know what I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And part of that was not knowing myself because of my past.
Yeah.
I was a chameleon. Well, what do you want me to like? I'll like it, right?
Yeah.
That
exactly.
was that. I was proud of that.
Oh,
I was proud of that.
I remember your personality test.
Oh
so
my
for those out
gosh.
there, personality test, we'd have her take a personality test, and then what
so
you
bad.
do is you'd say, am I this, everybody?
So
what about this one? Is this me? It's like, are you taking the test, or are we taking the test for you?
Because honestly, I couldn't tell you.
No, I know. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
It's wild.
I needed somebody to tell me what I liked.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But that's that chameleon in you, that people pleaser in you, from that dysfunctional part of me. You're just trying to make peace, trying to make everybody happy, I don't know. So this has been a big discovery for me over the last, that really impacted me, and I've been thinking about it a lot. Not that I was able to still identify. Even 5 years ago, I was at a Bible study with a bunch of women, and they had some crazy questions. Like, just really, they were icebreaker questions, like, if you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be? And why? It's like, well, I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I, what am I like? Am I loyal? Am I, you know what I mean? Or, I couldn't answer that. They had to answer it for me, which was interesting. And I knew I had some issues. So when I started taking this Making Peace with Your Past, it started opening up. It became very clear to me, this is why I do this. This is why I struggle here. This is why. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Well, now I have to be on this. I want to be on this discovery. Okay, what do I enjoy doing? Which is going to lead to the next question.
Yeah.
I want to ride my bike.
Yeah.
So part of that, missing out on your childhood, you're not going to get it back.
Nope.
There's things that I missed, I will never get back.
No. And I think part of that's important is accepting that too.
Because
I think what happens a lot of times is people get older and then they try to be back as children, as adults, and that's actually a lot of times not healthy.
No.
Different consequences when you're an adult. There's stuff you can get by with when you're a kid that it's like, hey, that's good for you to learn that mistake. The stakes are always higher when you're an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is. And there, I had to come to that reality. Sometimes there's grieving involved in that. Yeah. I'm not going to have that mom that's going to get me ready for prom. She's not going to tell me, she never could, she couldn't lead me in that direction. So, but right now I'm enjoying, and when I did start taking that course, first thing I did was start evaluating, okay, what do I really like?
Yeah.
I absolutely love the outdoors. I had no idea. Yep. I had no idea. I never went camping when I was a kid because I couldn't have all my stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Because I didn't want to be unperfect or whatever out there, not having my stuff. So I'm just feeling so free, and grandchildren can help you with your reliving your childhood.
You can kind of live through them a little bit.
You can. Yeah. So they want your attention. They want you to play with them. Hey, let's go bike riding. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah. We're bike riding, and I'm having a great time.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember a phone call with you about that too, about having fun or doing something for yourself. I remember you talking about guitar was actually the first thing I think you talked about. Was you talked about learning guitar, and then you talked about also stepping back from, was it the gym, or stepping back from construction, or stepping back from the work stuff that Dad was doing, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. I don't know. It was just interesting I
had to.
Because you were, and I thought that was really cool to talk to you. And like, I still remember that pretty vividly because I think that was a big step for you. And I just remember you saying like, well, I'm no longer doing this. And that's something you always did because you didn't feel like you needed to. And then, starting something new like the guitar, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So, did you have something else? Sorry.
No.
Okay. So let's go back real quick to the last one. So So the learning things, you talked about what you were learning with the self-reflection. So what's something you could give the people? Like, is it like a practice, maybe a good question that helps them self-reflect, or a fun fact, or something that they can kind of leave with from that?
Well, I think one thing that I think is important for people to do is to take that time in their life
Okay.
to just remember everything that they're grateful for. Honestly,
it's like a gratitude practice.
Yeah, because so many times in this world we are fast paced. You know, we've got to get things done. We got to keep moving. We got to keep going. Got to be there. Got to be there. We pack so much in our schedule that we really forget to take that time. You know, just sit there, look at the trees, listen to the birds, enjoy your family. You know, enjoy the people around you. Um, yeah, just kind of take it, slow down, enjoy people around you. Uh, you don't know when your last day is. You really don't. And I think that if you take that time, really invest in people, especially the people around you and your friendships, your family. I think that's the biggest thing. And learning how to slow down. I think that's going to help a lot, anyways, especially for people, especially if they've been through a traumatic situation in their past. Their body sometimes can't handle, sitting still, looking at the trees, enjoying the sunshine on your face. A lot of those, our minds go elsewhere. We try to busy ourselves so that we don't have to think.
Yeah.
So just doing things like that, I think, are going to be more valuable so that you can actually learn how to self-reflect and be able to handle the stuff. Like you said before, feedback you have to be able to handle it. You have to be able to not take it so personal. We take everything so personal, like it's a hit to our identity. And just, learning how to slow down and just be more mindful of those things. How are you feeling? I think those are important things.
Okay. What's a tangible practice that you use that works for you?
So my mornings, I like to go outside. Sometimes in the winter I can't, but I still get up early, and I just I read my Bible. Just being grateful for the things. I like to listen to my music. Just that quiet time and just reflect, what the day is coming up, or, just to think about things. Things will pop in your head, and those are good things too. Okay, why did that pop into my mind? Good things to think about. A lot of times when somebody's pops into my mind, I, think about them. I consider maybe I should pray for them. That's how I handle things. And yeah, and just think about them. What can I do for them? Maybe if there's something I can do for them, or just think about maybe I should call them, or, draw closer to them if it's somebody that's distant.
Yeah.
And just little things like that. I think investing in people, that's important.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, that's cool. I like that thought process too, of just kind of sitting there, creating the time, and just letting what flows flow.
Yeah.
And just going from there. I like that. Yeah, I've noticed time's helped a lot. Just having that, like meditation is something I like to do from time to time too. I think it's really helpful, especially when struggling. But I've also noticed too, like the amount of distractions that come up in that space too.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed anytime I'm scrolling the phone, if I actually just check myself and say, "Hey, what are you doing right now, Ricky?" It's easy for me to realize, like, oh, you're avoiding some type of feelings of some type. Put the phone down.
Exactly.
And then before you know it, it's just sitting there, to your point, right? Giving yourself some space, some time to see what comes up, being able to assess that. So, yeah, I think it's a good practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, so this is our final question. Well, actually, sorry, not final question yet. So what do you want to share with the audience? So, like, where can they find you? This is your chance to kind of promote yourself a little bit, or anything you're working on business-wise, project-wise, your social media, whatever you want to do. So this is like your marketing spot, if you want to do that.
And I don't have any. I don't have any.
That's fine.
I stay off of social media.
Mhm.
I get frustrated with it. And plus it captivates me when I am on it.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. I mean, then it's like you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Yeah.
It's made that way.
It's
It's made to
addictive.
do that. Just saying.
Yep.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
So yeah. So Dad usually takes care of all our social media, and he lets me
Mhm.
know if somebody's messaging me.
Okay. So what about so people can't find you really? I mean, they can find you on social media still if they need to contact you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, they have our Rich and Christina on Facebook,
Okay.
but I don't know what my Instagram is. You can see I don't get on there.
Yeah.
I've searched it like once every 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't have any followers, or I
right.
don't follow anybody. One of these days I will. One of
Okay.
these days I will maybe do stuff when it's more for me to reach out, I guess, to people. I do have a website, but I'm not really sure what it is. It's for personal training.
Okay. Personal training website.
So it's breakthrough personal training.com.
Breakthroughpersonaltraining.com. Okay. Well, we can put the link in the bottom of the
Okay.
video.
Yeah,
so,
I'll make sure it's
so
right.
they can find it. Okay. Perfect. So then they can access it that way.
These are all things that are new. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in a small town, so it's more like word of mouth, so So this is new for me.
Okay. And then what I'd like to do is so the last question I think is fun. So what question would you leave for the next guest?
What question? How about if you could be any superhero at all, who would you be?
Okay.
And what would be your special?
Keeping it fun. Okay.
Yeah. And what would be your special superhero-ish thing?
Okay.
Your gift or whatever.
Okay. So we talking like an existing superhero, I assume? Or you can make it up.
You can do what you want.
It could be any superhero.
You can do what you want. If you want to, I mean, I don't know if you can see my Wonder Woman cups, and stuff here. I like her. I'm just saying. She's awesome.
Okay. So if you were a superhero, then I'm assuming Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Yeah. All the way.
Yeah. She dressed up as Wonder Woman and went to the Renaissance Festival.
That's right.
And you almost did. So we're doing the sledgehammer where you hit it and the thing goes up there. You almost got it.
I almost got it.
Yeah.
So close.
Next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to get it.
There you go.
It's my goal.
Okay. So actually, let's go back to what's your story? So, and what's the title of your life story? So when you were talking, one came to mind because you said it a couple times. And I'll share it with you and you let me know what you think.
Yeah.
So what I saw was keep moving forward.
Yeah. That's it.
Does that feel like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep moving forward.
So if you had a title of a book of your life, it'd be called Keep Moving Forward.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. This has been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.
Yeah. So anything else you want to share or anything like that? Okay.
No, I think I'm good. I'm
Cool.
excited to see all your other guests too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super nervous at first, and then it kind of warms up. So.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's like you're being interrogated.
I know.
But in a good way.
Yeah. But the hunting story, I think that broke that.
I think so.
That was good.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I'm sure I'll have you on again.
All right. Yes,
Cool.
I would love to.